Happy Monday, Weather Geeks. It's weather for Weather Geeks, and I've got meteorologist Mike Joyce here.
Hello.
On Monday, we're kind of back in a regular routine after seemingly weeks and weeks
Mhm.
of strange schedules here in the weather department. Of course, we debuted all sorts of new stuff about a week and a half ago, and the training and getting ready for that, and being vacation season and that sort of thing had us not knowing what day it was for quite a while. But we're kind of back in a routine here, and Mike, this morning was a historical morning, not here, of course, where the weather is beautiful, but in Phoenix, Arizona. I just want to talk about this real quickly. They've had the wettest day on record in Phoenix this morning with over 2 inches worth of rain. I think 2.5 at least by this point. These are the Doppler radar estimated rainfall totals. Phoenix is right here. And where you see the reds showing up here, the scale may be a little hard for you to see on the left, but this is getting up into the 2.5 inch range out here, and they can't deal with that kind of water out there. They have no system to handle that kind of water. So you've probably seen on the news or on Twitter, Facebook today, all sorts of pictures of cars being whisked away by rain out in the desert. And a lot of this has to do with the tropical system that if I switch my satellite view here, hopefully this will show up. Might take a second, but we've got a tropical system off the Baja of California that's feeding moisture. There it is, right there. It's feeding moisture up into the desert Southwest, and that's why it's been like this so far today, Mike. And thankfully, that's where the nation's worst weather is here, nice and smooth. And
It's great.
silky smooth and quiet.
Since Saturday, of course. Saturday was a little messy.
Yeah, Saturday wasn't a great day, but we expected that. It was kind of a drizzly, cool afternoon. Yesterday turned out to be beautiful, though. It's just perfect yesterday, and today's just about perfect as well.
Mhm.
A little bit hard to come into work today, in fact. It was so nice outside. We're recording this a little after 2 o'clock, and we've got 74 here in Youngstown, and 76 Akron, Canton, 75 over in Newcastle. It's not as nice of a day down in Virginia Beach and Raleigh, heading down towards Myrtle Beach. Kind of a rainy afternoon there, but all that's missing us to the east. We're kind of in between systems this afternoon. We've got another frontal boundary out here, and our weather as we head towards midweek will get a little bit interesting as cool air starts invading the U.S. Look how cool it is this afternoon up in Canada. Yikes! It's not much higher than freezing in parts of Alberta. Of course, this is mountainous territory out here, but still, this is cold stuff. This will easily be the coolest air mass of the season so far coming down later this week. So our high temperature forecast for the end of the week, what do we have? Well, no better than lower 60s.
Lower 60s Saturday, and even starting Sunday might be low 40s. Very cold.
Yeah, very chilly nights. We're probably not talking about frost or freeze or anything like that just yet, but certainly more like October rather than mid-September coming up at the end of the week and heading into the weekend. So smooth sailing for the rest of the day today. If you get a chance tonight, check out the full harvest moon. It's a supermoon, and it's the last of several supermoons that we've had this year. Supermoon occurs when the full moon happens to be on the same day that the moon is in its closest point in its orbit to the Earth, so it appears a little bit larger. Now, to the naked eye, I'd be hard-pressed to say that you can really tell the difference.
Mhm.
But if you really compare them, yes, if you put photos side by side of a regular full moon and a supermoon, you can tell that way. But just the naked eye looking in the sky, it's a little hard to tell. It's really much bigger. Let's talk about our weather as we head towards midweek, because this is when things become a little bit interesting. I'm going to bring up the latest, not that one, the NAM model, and skip ahead to tomorrow. Actually, that's Wednesday. Today's only the 8th, so let's back up to tomorrow, the 9th. And, what do you think, Mike? This is a scattered shower kind of a thing, low chance kind of a thing for tomorrow?
Right. When I did the noon today, I put 20% pop on that. I just think, there could be a backyard or two that gets a shower, maybe a rumble, but nothing major.
Yeah, the atmosphere is just trying to moisten up a little bit. We've got our coastal low over here. Out here is where our cold front is across the Midwest tomorrow. And yeah, there might be some sort of passing shower tomorrow, but the bigger deal's coming as we head towards Wednesday. Here's Wednesday morning, about 8 a.m. And what we have going on here is low pressure over Iowa, cold front back in here, and a warm front up here. And there'll be some showers and storms lining up along this front. And there's a lot of good atmospheric dynamics coming together on Wednesday for some possible severe weather. We'll get into the afternoon particularly. Here's early in the afternoon on Wednesday, and at this point there'll probably be some sort of severe thunderstorm watch or perhaps even a tornado watch kind of in this zone somewhere in here. Eastern Illinois, Indiana, parts of Michigan, even northwest Ohio could certainly see a round of pretty nasty storms Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday
Mhm.
evening. And the main threat, probably wind, right?
Wind, yeah, I think if let's say we get enough sunshine, especially probably more likely in Western Ohio than here, but like over that way, there definitely could be a couple tornadoes if there is, that instability rising up over there.
Yeah, this looks like a pretty big ticket kind of severe weather event. Now, good news for us is this is coming at the wrong time of day for us to have probably a high end severe weather event. Here's the evening hours on Wednesday. A squall line probably out in here, Toledo area, Indianapolis. And then when that main line comes through here, it's probably going to be well after sunset. This is 2 in the morning, Thursday morning. It might not even have come through at that point yet. So this is probably coming in the middle of the night, which doesn't favor traditionally a big severe weather event, which typically favors more the hottest part of the day. Also, the atmospheric dynamics, the overall lift, probably a little better out to the west in Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, Grand Rapids, places like that. So I think Wednesday night's going to be stormy, but the jury's still kind of out on whether this is a severe weather event for us in the valley. Thursday, we kick off the day probably with leftover showers and then eventually dry out. The Storm Prediction Center does have the elevated or slight risk, as they call it, in the yellow area here. It gets to about I-77 and then extends west. And then when you look at the percentages, this is the percent chance of some type of severe weather happening within 25 miles. So in other words, in the red area, there's a 30% chance that within 25 miles of any spot, there might be some type of severe weather, whether it be large hail or damaging winds or perhaps even isolated tornadoes. So that red area, thankfully, is west of us, but something we're definitely going to keep an eye on because if this front and this squall line were to speed up a little bit, that could make a big difference as far as the chances for severe weather here. So Thursday probably starts out damp. As we get into the afternoon, we dry things out, and this is the front that has all that cool air behind it. So it's going to be a much different day on Friday. Some sunshine, but temperatures really struggling. Not much better than the lower 60s on Friday. And then Saturday, a little secondary little front probably comes through with maybe a shower in spots. And especially if it's kind of cloudy Saturday, we might not get above 60. This could be a day where we have a high of like 59 degrees or something like that. I tweeted and put on Facebook this morning that if that happens, if we don't get out of the 50s late this week or early in the weekend, it'd be the first time since 2006, or I should say the earliest since 2006, earliest in the season that that's occurred. Typically that's more of an October thing. So the weekend starts out cool and damp. I think Sunday's going to be the better half. It's not exactly going to be warm, but it should be a little bit more like September rather than October on Sunday. And here's a quick look at the 16-day trends on the latest GFS ensemble model. Don't take this verbatim. It's just a model, but we can easily pick out the trends here. It's going to warm up midweek ahead of those storms. We might even flirt with 80 Wednesday afternoon. But then here's Friday and Saturday. This model doesn't get it out of the 50s both days. And I think especially Saturday, that has a realistic chance of happening. And then the longer range, it's not a warm pattern. We're not going to see the kind of weather we've had a couple of times over the last week, but it does at least start to approach average a little bit. But yeah, overall, the first few weeks of September are probably going to go into the record books as a cool first few weeks of September around our area. If we're going to warm up and have several days above average, chances are it'd be at the end of the month. So pool season about over. And thankfully for those who don't like to pay for air conditioning, this is a nice pattern for you. All right, that'll wrap it up for today's weather for Weather Geeks. You can always check out Mike's forecasts on 21 News the weekends, 6 and 11, and usually midday Mondays as well. Follow Mike on Facebook and Twitter as well. And you'll see me tonight, as always, on 21 News, 6 and 11. We look forward to seeing you then. We'll have more Weather Geeks tomorrow afternoon.